Yes,
thumbs
yes,
up?
I can.
You can. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So I'm sure if you search through your screen now, you will notice that the picture you're seeing on the screen, that speaker is already with us here. So her name is Victory Yinka Banjo. She's 17 years old. She's a speaker, an app developer, a brand ambassador for South African Airways, and she's into coding. She teaches people how to code, and according to the results that are available, she made the best result in WAEC in the year 2020. That was just last year. She had all A1s, and she's passionate about education. She's passionate about our guest issues, and she's here to talk to us today about how to manage our academics and also how to deal with distraction, right? You know, education is very, very important. Victory, if you can hear me, say hi. I saw you earlier on. You can unmute your mic, say hi, hello.
Hi, I can hear you.
Beautiful. So, okay, fine. Beautiful, beautiful. So I think what we need to do, just give me 1 minute now so that I can do some handing over properly. Do you have something to present so that I can hand over hosting right to you, or you just want to talk through?
Yeah, so I'll just talk. I just have a few tips to share, and if anybody has questions, and that would be cool. So I don't have like slides or anything, but I have things in mind to say. So it's pretty cool. Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so guys, over to you, Victory. The floor is yours.
Okay.
Okay.
So someone sent me a question privately asking how old I was, but I'm 17, so I think you already said that. But I hope everybody can hear me. If there's any point where I'm not loud enough, please just tell me and I'll project. Thank you for having me, Teens Connect. It's like a huge honor to be here, to be honest. Like when you were reading out all those things, like Victory is this, she's an app developer. Yeah, like that's not how I see myself. I'm just like Victory, I'm actually pretty normal. So I'm not like here to like intimidate anybody or anything. And today I just want to talk to you guys about goal setting, especially as it relates to academics, because in 2020, I was about to say this year, but this is 2021 already. So last year I took a lot of exams. I took about 5 exams. I took WAEC, obviously, because I just finished secondary school. I took the SAT. I took IELTS, which is an English test. I took JAM. I'm sure all of us know what JAM is, which is like the UTME. And I took the Cambridge IGCSE, which is a UK exam. So I was packed with exams. And I didn't just have exams. I had extracurriculars. In my school, I have like things I do at school. Like I was the senior prefect, I was a head girl, and then I was the president of the students council. So there are just so many things that I was trying to get done, and it was stressful, and like it all boiled down to time management. And I'm going to be talking a lot about time management. I'm going to be talking a lot about how you can excel in your studies and still be able to do other things on the side, because I think from what people have said, I've been able to do that pretty well. So we thank God for that. But like, as it relates to studies, like when I joined Mr. Suleiman, I hope it's okay to call you by your first name. Hello? Okay, I'll just go ahead anyways. But I heard him.
Shaibu. Probably. It's gone. Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Yes, please go ahead.
Just call him Mr. Shaibu. Call him Mr. Shaibu, no problem.
Mr. Shaibu. Okay,
Mr. Hello, madam.
Okay, so I heard him saying talking about like setting goals and what goals you have. Like if you're 13 and you haven't written down your goals, and you're still 18 and you still haven't written down your goals, then you're dreaming. And he's actually right. Like you have to write down goals. There's one thing I do, and I think that's where I want to start. So for all the exams I took in 2020, I had them on my wall, like what my target was, because you definitely have to have a target. I mean, you can't just say, I want to pass my WAEC, and you don't know how many A's you want to get, how many B's you want to get, or how many C's, if you want to get any C's at all. So like I wrote it down, I wanted to get 9 A1s, and it was on my wall. I wrote what I wanted to get my SAT. I wanted to get in JAM. So when I was waking up in the mornings, I was seeing those things. And like every day I had to remind myself of my targets, because the like one thing about people who achieve is that they have those goals like stuck in them. Like it just becomes part of their subconscious. So your goals are not just
is it my own network or is it your network?
Am I breaking? Am I breaking up?
Your voice is jerking my network. You are cutting. Is it the same for everybody?
It's just
No, not
Hello?
really. Someone said no, not really. Can I switch to something else?
No.
Okay, I'm fine. Should I just go ahead?
Our network. Yes. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
No, we're coming.
Okay, so I'll just continue, and if it carries on that way, I'll switch to another network if that's okay. Hello?
I can hear you.
Okay, so I'll just continue. Okay, so I don't even remember where I stopped. But okay, yeah, I think the last thing I said was that the thing about people who are actually successful is that every day they're reminding themselves of their goals and why they do what they do, because it's so easy to get like tired or to give up or to not want to like keep on going. But one thing that is really, really helpful, especially when you know that you want to achieve something, is to consistently remind yourself of that thing. And it's not easy to remind yourself. So that's why I write down what I want to achieve on my wall. So I see it like every morning and I'm reminded of it every morning. And then when it comes to like academics, another thing that people should really take notice of, especially if you want to excel in your studies, is that you can't just stay where you're comfortable. Like you have to know your weaknesses and then tackle those weaknesses. So like what I mean by that is like I struggled with physics a lot. Like physics was not my strong point at all in school. I loved chemistry, I loved biology, math was okay. But like I didn't like physics classes at all. And then I thought I could run away from physics, but I couldn't because I had to write physics. Everybody has to write physics in JAM if you're a science student. And I had to write physics in WIEC as well. And it's not as if I was failing physics, but I wasn't enjoying the classes. So I didn't put as much effort into it. But then I realized that that was the wrong approach. So physics now became the subject I was studying the most, even though it wasn't the subject that I liked. So like I'm not saying you shouldn't focus on things that you excel at, but I didn't study like math or like normal regular math classes or normal chemistry the way I studied physics. I studied physics like my life depended on it. I like literally slept my textbooks. In fact, I started attending lessons just because of physics, because I really needed to improve my physics because I knew physics wasn't my strong point. So I was attending JAM lessons, and in the end, physics actually ended up being my highest score in JAM. So I got a 99 on physics in JAM, like out of 100. And physics was the subject that was difficult for me at first. So like, if you know what you're struggling with, like one thing you really have to identify in school is what you struggle with. What are your weaknesses? And don't run away from them. You have to like go straight, full force into those things. You have to tackle the things that you struggle with the most. I hope that makes sense. But like, I'll give you another example for my SAT. So the SAT is pretty complex. It's nothing like the Nigerian syllabus. It's nothing like the English you learn in school, the SAT English. So SAT math was okay for me, but SAT English, especially the reading section, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, which is fine, but the reading section was difficult, but it wasn't enough to say that the reading section was difficult for me. Like, even when you're tackling your weaknesses, you shouldn't just like have like a vague idea of what you're weak at. You have to know exactly what you're weak at. So for the SAT reading section, I wasn't good at inference questions and big picture questions, which are types of questions on SAT reading. And how did I know that? I took a lot of tests to know what I was consistently failing. So for physics, like, which was the point I was trying to make, for physics, I was good at specific areas in physics, like mechanics. I was good at optics, but I struggled with electricity. So like, you don't just say, I don't like physics, I'm not good at physics. What exactly are you not good at, and what exactly do you need to tackle? If it's every single one of your subjects, then you have to take it one by one. if you're struggling with something, you really need to reach out to your parents or to reach out to a guardian or to reach out to somebody you know that can help you. Like, I told my mom when I was struggling or what I was struggling with, and she offered to get me lessons. So I was attending lessons just to improve myself. And you have to want to improve. Like, there's one tip I really want to give, and like that tip is super important. Is the tip is that you are your own resource. So everybody, people who are very successful are usually self-made and self-motivated. You can't sit down and be waiting for your parents to tell you when to study or how to study. I mean, they can give you advice, but it just boils down to you and yourself alone, because in this world, it's basically just you and God. So it boils down to what you want for yourself and what goals you want for yourself and how far you're willing to go to achieve those goals. And you have to be self-dependent most of the time, even though it's good to have people around you that can help out. Never be afraid to reach out for help. I know how many people I've asked for help in so many aspects. Like, people look at me and think that I'm super smart, but I wouldn't say that I'm completely made myself, because I know that I've gone to people for assistance. I've gone to my parents for advice. I surround myself with people who I know I will benefit from. So like, the kind of people you have around you also determines how well you do in school. You know, people say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. It's actually super legit, like it's super true. So having the right people around you is another thing. Then consistency. So you can't wake up one day, you're the kind of person that, I mean, you do classwork, but you don't do your assignment, or you do your assignment, but you do your assignments shabbishly. And then you wake up one day, the beginning of SS3, and you say your target is 9A1s. I'm sorry, like, it doesn't work that way. It's never too late to turn around. So I'm not trying to like be discouraging, but the truth is that you have to have like a certain level of consistency. In life, you have to be consistent to see progress. So I know that, using myself as an example, in school, I was always like, I treated every assignment like it was like a life or death. It was like a do or die. It was like an all or nothing. It was like a go big or go home. I was like putting my best foot forward, even in things that were only earning me 10 marks and even things that only counted for 1% of my grade. Because to me, everything worth doing is worth doing well. So why not give it your all anyways? And that's like what kind of worked out for me, because I took on every assignment like it was important, because it is. Even minor assignments, like those assignments you get in, like, what example can I give? Like social studies. Maybe you don't do social studies in SS1 to SS3, but then the assignments are like, define culture. What is culture? If they're asking you to define culture, don't tell them culture is the way of life of a group of people. Why is it that way? Like, try to do things differently and try to go the extra mile in all your assignments. Like, treat it like it's actually important. It is. It might seem super unimportant, but if you embrace the mindset that it's not important, then that's how you're going to face your WAEC. You're going to say, well, it's just WAEC, and then after WAEC, you say, oh, it's just my university exams. Don't use that word "just" for anything in life, because every single thing has its essence. Every single thing has its importance, and you shouldn't want to belittle anything. Like, I'm not saying you should make a mountain out of a molehill, but treat every single thing like it's a go big or go home. Like, it's a do or die. It's give it your all, give it your best. In summary, make sure that your class assignments, your classwork, your school tests, school exams are things that you're always working hard on. And if you have that if you have that track record of being consistent, then trust me, I'm not saying like WAEC is going to be the easiest thing in the world, but it's going to be a lot easier than it would have been if you didn't do that. So like, you can start now if you haven't already to put in your best. You might think that doing your classworks and handing in your assignments and getting 10 out of 10 is not really an achievement, but everything like success is relative. I hope you know. So you shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people. Like, if you're setting like simple goals, like, okay, in my chemistry test, I'm going to get 52/60, and you achieve that or you surpass that, that is a big achievement. Like, you should achieve what you want to achieve, not what you expect other people to achieve. And that's like how you become a better person. If you're always striving to be a better version of who you are in terms of academics, in terms of the assignments that you're given, don't look at anything as too small. Trust me, like being here today is a huge thing for me. And if I had approached it with the mindset that, oh, it's just a talk, then I probably wouldn't be trying my best as I am right now. So every single thing in life, just embrace the mindset of giving your all. Everything worth doing is worth doing well. Then, sorry, I have so many tips, but if my time is running out, you can just stop me at any point. I'm completely fine with that. Then another thing is planning ahead. So I knew what exams I wanted to take and why I wanted to take them. Now, I'm sure most of you are still in school or still in secondary school. And after secondary school, you might expect it, or at the end of secondary school, you might expect to take WAEC, expect to take JAM. If you want to go out of the country, you might want to write the SAT. But many of you like just know that, oh, I'm going to write SATs. Everybody just says, I want to write SATs. Why do you want to write SATs? Like, what is it? What are you going to use SATs for? There's like, you shouldn't just like know that you're going to write a specific exam. You should know why you want to write that exam. So I'm talking about external exams in this case now. I knew why I wanted to write the SAT because I want to school abroad. So, and not just I want to school abroad, I want to school in the US. You're not writing the SAT if you want to be going to the UK. So it's like plan, do research, know why you want to write what, and like the reason for writing a specific exam, and then what steps you're going to take towards those exams for looking at external exams. Don't just write every single, like don't pile up exams for the sake of piling up exams. I mean, I know I wrote a lot of exams, but I wrote every single one for a reason. I wrote WAEC because that's like a school leaving certificate. I'm finishing secondary school, I have to write WAEC. I wrote JAM because I'm still applying to Nigerian universities, so I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket and saying that every single school is going to bow down to me. So that's why I'm just not going to write JAM. Then I wrote the SAT because I want to like have a shot of getting an education abroad. And I wrote the IELTS because I know that it's needed for specific countries, like Canada needs IELTS. You might not know that Canada needs IELTS. You might not know that the UK needs IELTS from Nigerians, but America doesn't even need IELTS. So you wouldn't want America and be writing IELTS and why you're taking it. And the only way to do that is to ask questions and research. Don't give half-baked knowledge. And this is one thing a lot of Nigerians like to do. Be thorough in whatever you're doing. Like if you're researching something for an assignment, if you're researching something for an exam you want to take, like be sure that you're getting the correct information. Don't look at the first link you see on the internet and take everything you see like what do they say, hook, line, and sinker. So don't swallow everything that you see on the internet and take it as correct information. Like I know my chemistry teacher, he's very good at this. Like he will never accept an assignment that is done shabbishly. So you have to want to be like a detailed person in everything that you do. And you will need this at university. I'm going through the process of applying to universities, and you will learn to be detail oriented. You will learn to be meticulous. And it starts in secondary school. It starts with that whole concept of do or die, go big or go home. So now I want to talk about time management and how you're organizing your time. But before I do, like so far from everything I've said, do you have any questions? Is there anything I've said that's unclear? Am I talking too fast? Am I speaking too, am I not speaking audibly enough? Should I raise? So someone said, what school did I go to? I went to Princeton College in Surulere. Oh, sorry, that was a private message, but it's fine. You can ask it publicly. Okay, so I'm seeing other questions, but I think I'll answer them at the end. But are there any urgent questions? Okay, I'll just keep going. So for organizing your time, there's this thing called like scaling your priorities, or in economics, I think it's called opportunity cost, or no, I think it's called scale of priorities, but I dropped economics anyways. But like Mr. Shaibu said when I joined, like writing down your goals is super important, but it's not just enough to write them down. You have to know what is most important. Like one hard thing I've learned in life is I can't do everything. Like I'm the kind of person that like wants to try my hand in everything, and I want to achieve everything at once. And I've gotten advice from people who are in university, and one thing they will tell you that you might not like to hear is that in this life, you can't do every single thing you want to do at the same time. Even though you can multitask, there's a point where you have to know what's most important. Like I serve at my church and I'm very active at church. But when I have school exams coming up, I don't spend my whole day, my whole Sunday at church, even though it's good to serve. I don't spend my whole Sunday at church when I could be spending some of that time studying for the exam I have on Monday. But then when I'm done with my exams, I go back to spending my whole Sundays at church, if that makes sense. So if you're the kind of person that does stuff outside of school, and if you have commitments outside of school, like it's okay to sometimes take time off and back up and say, I have to prioritize my academics at some point, or I can't, like if everything is too much on you, or if you have too many things going on, it's okay to cut down on some things. And if you don't have enough things going on, then it's okay to like pile up a few things on your plate and just get busy. Because they say that I don't mind is the devil's workshop, and they're not wrong. Okay to take some things off of your plate sometimes. Like I've deleted WhatsApp a couple of times. Like right now, I don't have WhatsApp on my phone because WhatsApp is a huge distraction for me at times, because I can spend like 5 hours on WhatsApp just going through statuses and replying to messages. Like right now, I had like over 200 messages unread and I didn't have time to go through them. So what I deleted it because there's one thing that like, there's this like human mindset. There's this fear of missing out. Like on social media, we're so afraid of letting go of our phones, of our Instagram, of our WhatsApp, of our Twitter. Like we want to know, we crave information, especially as teenagers in this time and age. But let me just tell you the truth. It's okay to not know it's okay to not know what's trending on Twitter. It's okay to not know what your friends are posting on WhatsApp. And I've learned that just by taking my time off. Like it's okay to block some things off just to focus on what is important. And that comes back to scaling your priorities. If you know what's trending on Twitter and you spend 3 hours investigating why Fashola is trending or why some Big Brother Nigeria person is trending, and those 3 hours that you dedicated to know what's trending on Twitter, you didn't dedicate to studying for an exam that would affect your transcript, and that transcript would affect your admission into university, and that admission into university would affect the job you will now gain. I mean, could you not have spared those 3 hours on Twitter just to study for the exam that would affect whether or not you go into university, whether or not you got a good job? Like sometimes you just have to look at the bigger picture. Like why should you do something that gives you pleasure in one moment when something that gives you pleasure for the rest of your life? It's super important. And I didn't used to think this way at all, but like it's when you lose something that you really wanted that you know when you need to sacrifice the unimportant things. So it's when you fail that exam that you realize that you don't want that to happen again. But why not learn from other people's experiences, like I'm telling you now, and not fail that exam? Why not let go of the distractions when the time comes? Why not, I'm not saying you should delete WhatsApp, but why not take time off? Or why not give yourself a limit? Like I had like a timer for my social media accounts on my phone at some point because I wanted to know, like track how long I was staying on there. And it was pretty pathetic. I was spending hours on my phone. So I started cutting down that time, especially now that social media is a huge distraction. So scaling your priorities by sometimes cutting down on extracurriculars when you need to, or taking time off social media is very, very useful. And another thing I want to talk about is my parents. So I don't think I could write a success story without the kind of parents that I have, because they are so flexible, they are so accommodating, and like they are very negotiable with when they want me to help me achieve my goals. So if I know that I want to achieve something, if I know I have an exam coming up, my mom will literally allow me to cut down on my chores. Like she would say, okay, finish your exam and then immediately you're done, you catch up on your chores. Or I have a sister, for example, so we can share chores at home. So while I was writing my exam, she was handling dishes. And now that she's about to write her WAEC, I'm the one doing most of the dishes. So sometimes talking to your parents and just allowing them to understand your goals and your plans and being on the same page with them is super important, because they're your biggest support group or your biggest support network. Now, I can acknowledge the fact that not everybody has parents like mine. So some of you might not have like a really good relationship with your parents, or your parents to you might not be as accommodating or as flexible, but maybe you haven't approached them the right way, or maybe you haven't pleaded your points well enough. And if you have and they still don't accommodate, then you have people like Mr. Shaibu, who is here for you, who's a guardian and can maybe step in. Sometimes you need a third party to come in and help your parents see things from your perspectives or your points of view. Trust me, you never know. Your parents might allow you to take like 2 weeks off washing clothes, or 2 weeks off arranging like their room, just so that you can pass that exam. And if they understand, if you're able to get them on the same page, or if you're able to get somebody that's a guardian or someone you trust, like Mr. Shaibu, then they can assist you in achieving your goal. So I hope I made that point clearly as well. Then please stop me if I'm talking too much or if I'm talking too fast. I know I keep saying it again, but I just want to be sure that everybody's on the same page, because I can't hear you. I'm just hearing myself. But if there's any...
So I can hear you clearly. So, and I'm sure if they have any questions,
can hear you clearly.
They will unmute their mic and ask you question, or they will raise their hand, because you see the hand raising function on Zoom. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether at this stage, because first, your time is up. That's the first one. Two is that, and no, don't worry, Victory, we can still give you some small time, but so that this session will be interactive. You said quite a lot of things, and I don't want to be the one to take the shine off all the things you've said. Let the people who are listening to you ask you their own questions now. So let's go to the Q&A session and get to the bottom of the issue. I'm sure the listeners here have a lot of questions. Who wants to start first? Can you guys hear me? Or NEPA don't take light?
We can hear you.
Oh yeah, let's go. Let's go. Who wants to go first? Yeah, Sumbo, you're inside the car already. Are you going for a meeting? You didn't know we'll see you? Yes.
I got a private message from somebody, and I think that's a really important thing to address. So I won't like say the person's name, but the person said, can you please talk about mental health? Because school can be really stressful and it's hard to know how to fit in mental health and school. Like, that is an amazing question. And thank you for bringing it up, because like school is not easy for anybody. I broke down so many times because of how much stress I was under. But one thing I've learned over the years is that you need to take breaks. You just need to take time off. It's okay to actually skip a test sometimes, or it's okay to miss out on some things just to refresh, or just to always prioritize yourself. If you're at the point where you feel like you're breaking down, then sleep. I get sleep deprived enough, and I don't know, there's like this mindset among teenagers or people my age that being sleep deprived is cool. It's really not. It's not cool to be sleep deprived. And my mom is usually the person who gets me in check, but it's okay to sleep. It's okay to take time off. It's okay to put your books away when you know that you can't handle the pressure. You have to do things like you have to cut your cake according to what you can chew, or I think that's how it's said. But you have to eat what you can take, or eat as much as you can accommodate in your stomach. So you shouldn't be doing way more than you can actually handle. It's okay to push yourself a bit, but when it gets to the point where you know you're breaking down, take time off. And if you can, talk to somebody who you trust. Like, I talk to my mom. So am I done with school? And did I go to university? So I think that some people like would rather just like send their questions, because I'm getting the messages privately. So I can just answer them.
Okay, please go ahead. Go ahead.
So yes, I finished secondary school December last month. I was meant to graduate in July, but we all know because of Corona and everything, I basically finished December. But yes, I'm done with secondary school and I'm applying to university, so I'll hopefully start university this year. Can I have your email? So if you want to like ask me questions, I'd rather not give out my email because I might not reply. Well, my email is actually the safest place to. So yeah, okay, I think I can give out my email because I can't give out my number, that's for sure. So yes, I can give you my email if you have any pressing questions. Please don't spam me or send me inappropriate questions because I'll block you. Just know that now. But I can definitely give you my email if you have questions because that's the easiest way to access me. So I'll just type it here. And please don't give it out to anybody that's not in this meeting. Sorry, that's not it.
I hope we're learning something about respect of people's privacy. As Victory rightly pointed out, I think it would be rude, it would be bad character if you shared Victory's details with someone else. You know, she's not at liberty to give this to you. She has chosen, and I think we should respect that. That's number one. Number two is that, you know, like she rightly pointed out, you should respect the fact that she's not really obliged to answer you. So if I were you, I will use that email judiciously. It's for pressing matters, not for sending her what dress that what do you call it? Oh, that funny girl that my daughter is always talking about. Yeah, we shall know them. Those Anna Montana, in those your worlds. Yes. So
Yeah.
whatever the stars are, just make sure you ask the right and the appropriate questions so they can get full use of this relationship you are trying to build. Okay, next question.
I'm seeing many questions.
Oh, you're seeing many questions? Okay,
yeah.
Wow, interesting.
So do you think boarding school or day school is better? So I was a day student my entire life, but I know many boarding school students that were super successful. And one thing I would say is it depends on the school you're attending. So my school, I'll definitely say day school is better because boarding school students in my school don't thrive as much because I think they get distracted. But there are many schools, like I know someone from King's College that was a boarder his entire life, and he did amazing the SAT. He's schooling in the US now on a full scholarship. But it's like dependence on you and what you can thrive. So what I mean by this is at home, because I have parents that allow me to focus or allow me to concentrate, day school worked out for me. But there's some of you who have parents that might not give you that same liberty. So boarding school might be better for you. So like look at your environment at home and then look at like, are you the kind of person that would like to party with your friends all night and stay up all night watching movies? Are you the kind of person that can like see your friends watching a movie while they're at the hostel and still go and study? So day school worked for me, but boarding school might work for some other people. So I can't say day or boarding is better. It depends on the school, it depends on your personal discipline, and it depends on your environment at home as well. How did you handle peer pressure? Wow, that's a good question. So I definitely succumbed to peer pressure a lot. So there are lots of things I did I shouldn't have done because everybody makes mistakes. But I think you learn from your mistakes and you also learn from other people's experiences. So if you're consistently making the same mistakes over and over again, then you have to take some time to self-reflect. If you're doing things just because everybody else is doing it, like why? Like I'm asking you now, why? Like I'm trying to guilt trip you. Why are you doing it? Like if it's not like I think every single step that you take or every single action that you take has to be very intentional. So you have to know why you're doing what you're doing. And if you can't give a solid reason why, or if the reason for doing it is because I feel like it, or if the reason for doing it is because everybody else is doing it, that means you are succumbing to peer pressure. And you have to self-reflect. And it's okay to have done things that you regret, or it's okay to sometimes succumb. Not like, I'm not saying you should succumb, but if you have already, it's fine, put it in the past. But how I dealt with peer pressure was always keeping my goal in sight. And I think I said this at the beginning. It wasn't just about having my goals on the wall. I had them like deeply rooted in my subconscious. I know what I want to an extent. Like, I'm not sure like exactly what I want to study, but I know that I want to be successful. I know I want to make my parents proud. So like having those things deeply rooted, like always remind yourself, and it's easier to say than to do, but with practice, you can remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing and remind yourself what your end goal is. And that brings me back to what Mr. Shaibu said about writing down your goals. So the Bible says, write the vision, make it plain. So writing down goals is important. Is it okay to drop out of school? I don't think I should answer this question. Hell, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of school and he's successful, but we are not all Mark Zuckerberg people. I'm not saying you should drop out of school. Finish, like I highly advise that you at least finish your bachelor's degree, and then you can now say I want to drop out. But don't drop out. Don't drop out of school. Like in this day and age, you need at least a BSc to get a job, unless you are a Mark Zuckerberg. But from like my personal point of view, please don't drop out of school. Like especially secondary school. Like why are you dropping out of secondary school? Do not, don't. I don't support that. But that's like my take on it. There are other people that would say otherwise. Do you have role models that help you thrive on, or someone who really made your mind focused on those marks? Yes, definitely. I like this question. So I have, like I said, I surround myself with people who I want to imitate, and your role models don't have to be so distant. So like some people might say Michelle Obama is my role model, and that's great and fine and all, but I have role models who are my age. I have role models who are just a grade above me. I have role models who are younger than me. So it's okay to have role models who are like in the same age range with you, because I feel like when you have that kind of role model, it's even more practical. So I have this friend, like I've already mentioned him. His name is Chika, and he's like one of the reasons I got what I got in my SAT, because he was like my SAT role model. And he was the first person I knew that got over 1,500 in the SAT. So like I basically just kept on disturbing him and asking questions like, how did you do it? And he kind of became a role model to
Excuse me, Victory, you're
I'm cracking.
No, Victor, I can hear you clearly. I'm sure it probably is network. I can hear you
Okay.
clearly.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So yes,
But
I
Victor,
definitely have-
yes. No, I have a question to ask you regarding these role models you're talking about. When did you start deciding that you needed a role model?
Okay, so one thing that humans do is like we learn by imitation. So we learn by like people who we surround ourselves around. So I didn't consciously have a role model until like 2 years ago or last year. So I didn't like actually know that okay, I want to be like this person, but I knew the kind of people I wanted to have around me. So I knew like the kind of atmosphere I wanted to like. I don't like being around people who don't push me. I don't like being around people who don't make me like want to be the better version of myself. But I didn't acknowledge that fact until like 2 years ago or last year. So I wasn't completely intentional with who I would consider a role model. But yeah, so I think that answers this question. But apart from like having people in your age range, or apart from having people like I said, like I gave my the example of my friend Chika, there's this other girl in my school, Ife, who really helped me with like Jam and WAEC. So like just like imitating those kind of people really helps, and just like learning how they think and wanting to understand how they think. But on like social media, on Twitter, I follow people who are successful in the field I want to go into. I follow people who are successful with what they do. I know people who are interested in tech and they follow guys in tech and they see the kind of things that they tweet. People who want to be like the world's next Elon Musk follow Elon Musk, because they're like I said, humans learn by imitation. Like when you were a baby, you couldn't talk, but you started talking because you had your parents talking around you and they're always speaking to you. And that's how you learned how to talk. So it's okay to imitate, or it's okay to try to like act like somebody, not like be like them, like exactly, but to try to learn what they're doing right and instill those things or learn from those things. Sorry, lots of questions. Did you ever argue with your parents on what you want to become in the future? No, but I know many people do. So my parents are super flexible. I have amazing parents. Like my dad literally said, if you want to be the next Hannah Montana, you can. My dad would say, if you want to be a football player, you can. Like I've never argued with my parents what I want to be, but I know people who have. And if, like my advice to you, if your parents don't agree with what you want to be is, listen to your parents, but do what you want to do. So I have a friend who His parents wanted him to be a doctor. He traveled, he went to the school, he was on the path towards medicine, and he switched to computer science. So, like, listen to your parents, but do what you want to do. Take charge of your life at the point where you're allowed to take charge of it. So maybe they put you on the path towards law or medicine or whatever it is. It's okay to eventually take the right turn towards your passion, because you can't spend the rest of your life doing what you're not passionate about. And your parents can only take you so far. Your parents have your best interest at heart. But if you are truly sure about what you want to do and what you want to be, and you've committed it to God, then do what you want to do. Don't disrespect your parents. But at the point where you have enough independence or enough liberty or at university, then like write your own story, craft your own narrative. Did you have any friends who didn't make you focus, or some friends you just had to leave? Yes. I like this question. Yes. Like, that's a simple answer. I don't know if I should elaborate, but there are some people I was friends with a few years ago, and I don't talk to them anymore because they were not like, as you grow older, you start to realize who you want to be around. And I probably wouldn't have said this when I was 12 or 13, but I think around 15, I started like understanding that, okay, not like I don't like you, but you're not making me progress. So why don't I go and stay around people that make me progress? We can still be friends from a distance. We can still talk apart. I can still save your number on my phone, but I don't have to be best friends with you. I don't have to be super close with you if I'm not becoming a better person by being around you. So like, you can even start out to be really intentional about who you call friends. We throw the word friend around too easily. I rather say comrade or peer or classmates than call somebody my friend. If someone is not making me a better person, I wouldn't consider you my friend. I just consider you a companion or somebody I know. But the short answer is yes, I have cut down. It's okay to cut people away if they're not making you progress. What is your opinion on people saying things like makeup is a distraction, dyeing your hair is a distraction, piercings are a distraction, the way you dress is a distraction? Do you really think it's a distraction? If so, can you please tell me how? Because everyone who says that to me never told me why. Because personally, I don't think it's a distraction to me. This question is pretty long. I'm not sure what you mean by a distraction. Okay, I think I kind of understand what you mean, but no, this life is super relative. So something that might distract you might not distract somebody else. I know a girl who is a YouTuber and she's still doing amazing in school. She's a she's my age, she's a makeup artist, YouTuber, but she still has straight A's in school. So it's like, you shouldn't do more than what you can do. Like, there was a time I was working on this app and the app started telling my schoolwork. So my parents basically just told me to cut it off and focus on what was more important. If you get to the point where you realize that something is jeopardizing something more important, and life is all about decisions, and it can be very, very difficult to make decisions and to say this is more important than this. You might think they're equally important, but sometimes one just has to take like a little bit of an upper hand. If people keep telling you that something's a distraction, maybe they're telling you that because they've noticed that it distracts you and you're not ready to admit that it distracts you, especially if it's your parents telling you it's a distraction. But if you are pursuing a career as a makeup artist, but you're still doing very well in school, then to me, it's not a distraction to you. Unless it's like jeopardizing something else that's very important, then it is a distraction. So distractions are relative. Many people know how to multitask really well. Many people don't, and that's fine. I don't know if I answered the question well. If I didn't, just let me know. So let me go back. Did you ever at any point feel like giving up on everything? Yes. Can I count how many times? Yes. Like, do you know how many times I have, let me not say giving up, but gotten super close to giving up? I have broken down. I have cried. I have like said, I'm not doing this again. I've thrown the book on the floor. I've done everything. But the thing about breaking down is that you get back up again. Trust me when I say it. Like, if you don't know this song by Kelly Clarkson, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. It's so true. Like, if you're not dying from something, you get over it. That's the truth. I can give you an example. My WIAC results were supposed to come. Everybody knows WIAC results for 2020 came out in November. WIAC did not release my results. WIAC withheld my results when all my friends from different schools had their results. I didn't have mine. And you know how that made me feel, especially when everybody was like expecting, or I needed my WIAC results for my applications. I needed it for so many things. I needed it to just like have this certainty or this assurance, and I didn't get them. For 6 weeks, I did not have my WIAC results, and I had like places I needed to submit it to. That made me feel like, I don't want to like use a bad word, but it made me feel terrible. It made me feel like I was nothing. And it like made me like want to reduce myself to nothing. Like I cried so many times. But look at me now. I'm smiling and I'm fine, and my work results are out. So yeah, I've given up. No, I haven't given up, but I've gotten very close to. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And breaking down, anytime you break down, you still get back up again. You can only remain on the floor for so long. You can only lie down in your bed and cry for so long. You can only cry until your headache is unbearable. You guys, trust me. Even when you feel like giving up, everything's going to be okay. And don't forget to like rely on God. I think apart from my parents and my sister who have been there and supportive and got me back up, like just like praying has been super helpful. And I'm like a gospel music fanatic. So like I just like listen to gospel music a lot, and the lyrics are very uplifting, and it helps me keep going. And also I have really supportive friends bringing me back again to why you should cut off people who are not helping you in any way. I have amazing friends who I can talk to when I'm struggling, an amazing family. Okay, so I think there are like 2 more questions. I know I've gone way over time, but you all have my email. If there's anything that is still very pressing, if you're a YouTuber, can you drop out? If you're a YouTuber and you're in secondary school and you're making 1 billion naira per day, please still don't drop out. If you're a YouTuber and you're doing your first degree and you're making 1 billion naira per day, maybe, but I still advise that you finish your bachelor's degree. But if you're a YouTuber and you finish your bachelor's degree, or you're about to finish and you know you're going to get the degree and you want to stop school at that point, then fine. Pursue your career on YouTube. Just at least bag your bachelor's degree. Please, at least have that. We are not all Mark Zuckerberg. Please, we are not all Mark Zuckerberg. I mean, your story might be different. You might be the next Mark Zuckerberg. It's fine. But I really do advise that you don't drop out, even if you're a YouTuber that's making money.
Sorry, Victory. I can't thank you well enough. When I hear you appeal to young people not to drop off, it just makes sense. I mean, I'm asking myself here that who would you be proving things to when you drop off? What if things don't play out the way you hope it will? And the truth is that we're not all Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. And you also must always remember your circumstance, right? This is not the United States, right? This is Nigeria, B.
Thank you. That's very true.
So you must remember where you are. Don't forget where you are. We don't have, by the way, we don't have what you call social security. We're still trying to identify our people by using what you call name, right? So federal government is saying we should come and register ourselves and ensure until they can count us properly and have us identify. Then only they can start thinking about social security. So those people are in a hurry, you don't have insurance, and you say you want to take all those risks. There's no fund that is there that is taken care of. So I will say, anyway, tomorrow when we talk about goal setting, we'll talk about those SMART goals again. We'll talk about why we should be realistic and we should set goals that are attainable. Choosing to drop out is not the way to go. Thank you for Victory for bringing this up, and thank you for responding properly to it. You've done a good job of answering all the questions. Are there still any more questions? Because we need to close out on this now.
Okay, so there are 2 more, and if any come in, I won't answer any more, but I think I should actually just answer these. But if you have more questions, you can email me.
Thank you.
So I'll just answer this. When you decided to write all those exams, were people really expecting too much from you, which got pressure? Yes, there was so much pressure on me. There were so many high expectations and high hopes. But like one thing I've learned to do is channel pressure towards hard work. So like you don't just convert the pressure to oh, I can't do it, or feeling like you can't do it. Like you have to channel that energy you're using to feel worried about pressure towards working hard on that goal and making sure you meet those margins. You're going to experience pressure your entire life. So you're always going to have these expectations. But not just, I'm not saying it's easy to channel the feeling of pressure towards hard work. You also have to have people reminding you that you can. My mom is super amazing because she reminds me that I can do it. She's like she tells me to forget about everybody. When all those people are saying that, oh, we already knew you're going to get 9A1s because everybody was expecting me to get 9A1s. She said, forget what they're saying and focus on your task, focus on your goal, focus on what you have in mind. Block, sometimes it's okay to block everybody out. It is super fine. Is it normal to feel like education isn't for me sometimes? Yeah. Yeah. So I might not be in the best position to answer this is the last question. I might not be in the best position to answer that. But it is. It really is. There are some people who are super successful, and not everybody here is going to have all A's or all B's or all A's and B's, and that is fine. That's why there's diversity in the world, and that's why we have people who end up being amazing chefs, or people who end up being amazing makeup artists, or people who end up being amazing designers. School or the academic life is not for every single person, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't put your best towards it, because that's like the situation we find ourselves in. You need to at least try. I'm not saying I expect you to get all A's or all B's. If you're getting C's and you know that you're putting your best towards that, then it's well deserved. And once you're done with your education, pursue your passion. Not even once you're done, pursue your passion while you're pursuing your education. Like school is not the only thing I do. I know what I'm passionate about. I teach people how to code because I care about the digital divide and the education gap. I mean, I love public speaking because I love talking to people and I like talking a lot. So pursue your passion while you're doing schoolwork. And education is not for, it's okay to feel like education is not for you, but it doesn't mean you can't thrive. Physics is not for me. Physics is not for me, but I still got A1 in physics and WIEC because I had to. So there's some things that we'll have to do in life, even though we don't want to. But once you're done, you're done. And you look back and say, thank God I actually did it. So yeah, it's okay to feel like that.
So Victory, thank you very much. You've done marvelously well, far beyond what our expectations are. You nailed it. I don't know. I'm sure that's the young way of saying it, right? Yeah. Nailed it. Okay, guys, I want us to show some love to Victory. First, I want us to give her a round of applause. You can unmute your mic. Give her a real thunderous applause. She's really come through. Before she leaves us, I have a few comments and observations that I want to share based on the things that she shared. And Victory, you are at liberty to add more or maybe clarify. First thing that you said today, I think I found very profound, is that you are your own resource, right? Yes. I heard you use it twice. Yeah. So guys, what it means is very simple, is that they say if you're looking for a helping hand, just check. Just down the line, your hand is there. That's the person who you should help, right? And tomorrow we'll talk about our 151 system. You understand why it's very important for you to start taking ownership for your life, for where your life is going. You can see today that Victory's mom is not here, standing for her. She's speaking on her own. Neither is her dad here. She has had to develop herself, bootstrap herself to this stage. You all can do it if you set your mind at it. And you know, when we run program like this, we try to bring your peers to come and talk to you so that the things don't look so mystical. That's the first point you said, be your own resource. Second thing you said is that sometime or the other, you need to block out things so that you can focus. She told us that she actually deleted WhatsApp from your phone, right? You have 200 messages. This is good. So for those of you who are busy hugging your phone as if your life depends on it, let me inform you. I'm from the old side of the fence. There was a time where there was no phone in Nigeria. And people grew up well-rounded. A lot of successful people that you saw today, whether it's Aliko Dangote, whether it's Jimovia, mention any person who is a successful, a rich person in their own right. At one time, we're not using phones. They didn't have phones in their house, right? Their parents probably couldn't afford one. So don't get hung up on phones. Lastly, you talked about the need for one to spend some time to rest. Yeah. No, I think I should talk about two more things. Talk about rest. So for those of you who are busy, your eyes are glazed, you are looking at the screen, watching YouTube as if your life depends on it. You're a consumer of YouTube. You're not even producing. Assuming you were producing now, I will not be angry. But imagine, and I'm sure Mrs. What do you call it? Uwem Eyo will talk about it tomorrow. She will bring your attention to the fact that you need to have productive goals around social media. Spending too much time watching the screen and not resting is bad for you. Number 4, you talked about why people must work with their parents, right? If you didn't have cooperative parents, you wouldn't have come this far, right? So,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, one thing for sure is this, for all of you who are on this call, if you are in any doubt whether your parents love you, your parents spent money for you to come here, and those monies don't come cheap. So if they don't care about you, they wouldn't have paid for you to attend this program, right? So it just makes logical sense that they care about you. So you must find a way to work with them. And tomorrow I will talk about that. Is there any other thing you need to add to it? These are the 4 things that they really stood out for me. I'm sure that there is for other people.
No, I think you actually summed up everything pretty well. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, as long as they're serious questions. And I wish you all the best, everything like that.
Hey, let's give a round of applause. Thank you very much, Victory. Okay.